Welcome back guys to yet another Minecraft build video. Today we're going to take a look at one of the biggest projects we have worked on so far, Lighthouse Island. Everything you're about to see was built completely from scratch in creative mode. Every building, every pathway, every dock and every detail started as just an empty landscape and slowly transformed into the island you are going to see today. Now, just because it's in creative mode, it does not mean that everything went perfectly. We made mistakes. We changed designs multiple times. We rebuilt sections from scratch. And we spent hours tweaking details until everything felt right. What started as a simple lighthouse quickly grew into a full island settlement, featuring a main house, a working elevator, fishing docks, farmland, storage facilities and fully decorated interiors. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's take a look at how Lighthouse Island came together. Before we could place any blocks, we needed the right location. We found this just before videoing. The island sat in a perfect spot, surrounded by water, with enough space to create something that would feel realistic and alive. At first, the plan was simple: build a lighthouse. That's it. But as we started laying out the ideas, the project just kept growing and growing. We thought about what a lighthouse keeper would actually need: a place to live. Sure. Storage for supplies. Access to the water. And what else? A way to transport materials around the island. Suddenly, we weren't just building a lighthouse anymore. We were building an entire island community. With the basic plan in mind, it was finally time to start the construction. The lighthouse was always going to be the centerpiece of the project. Everything else would be built around it. We began by working on the tower itself, trying to find the right height and the right proportions. One of the biggest challenges we had here was making it stand out from a distance, without making it look oversized compared to the rest of the island. After experimenting with different shapes and dimensions, we finally settled on a design that we were happy with. Then comes the iconic red and white striped pattern. As soon as those colours go on, the structure instantly starts to look like a proper lighthouse. The lantern room at the top took several attempts. The roof shape wasn't quite right at first, and some of the details fell off. So we ended up rebuilding parts of it multiple times before everything finally came together. But once the lighting was installed and we could see the tower overlooking the ocean, the whole project started to feel real. Finally, for the first time, we could imagine what the complete island might actually look like. As you can see here, with the lighthouse complete, it was time to give it a purpose. So instead of creating a house separate, somewhere else on the island, we decided to attach the main living quarters directly to the lighthouse. This helped everything to feel connected and created a unique silhouette when viewed from a distance. The house went through several design changes. Roof angles were adjusted, windows were moved, and entire walls were rebuilt. Even the small changes made a huge difference to the overall appearance. By the time the house was finished, Lighthouse Island was starting to feel like a proper home, rather than just a landmark. We realised we were running out of space for what we were planning. How are we going to sort this out? Now, to add some touches to make it look big enough so that we can decorate at a later date, we can make everything look just the way it looks inside my head. This is where I started to have the idea. How are we going to build the rest of the island on this small area and have it touching near the ocean so that we can have a fishing dock? This is where it came into my head. An elevator. How do we make a working elevator? Well, I was clueless on this one and had to actually get help. Remember that mental health matters. No matter who you are, everyone faces challenges at some point in their life. Whether it's stress, anxiety, loneliness, feeling burnt out, or simply just having a difficult week, it's important to remember that you are never alone. One of the reasons we've created our Discord community is to provide a positive place where people can come together, make friends, share interests, and just support one another. It's a place where you can get updates on the channel, yes. You can chat with other community members, share your own builds, and connect with people who genuinely care. No, we're not mental health professionals, and we cannot replace them. But we believe that having a welcoming and supportive community can really make a difference to someone's life. If you would like to be a part of that, we would love to have you join us. I will add the link to the Discord in the pinned comment below. That being said, let's get back into the build. As you can see now, we're working on the small parts. The parts that people don't think matter the most. However, these are the 20% that seem to bring a build to life. Like, really bring them to life. All the small details are what give a build the most amazing, extravagant look you could ever imagine. And that's what we were aiming for here. Fixing mistakes, sure. Making it look more realistic, that is indefinite. Don't forget, guys, to tap that like button if you've made it this far, and drop a comment below on if you could make this build in survival mode. I would love to see what you have to say. Now, this is the most exciting part of the build. Trying to make a working elevator. We thought it'd be so easy. It's one of those ideas that sounds absolutely amazing on paper, but in practice it took so much longer than expected. Getting an elevator to fit naturally into the build, while still functioning properly, turned out to be a wrong challenge. One that we failed multiple amount of times. We had to rethink the entire design so many times. The measurements changed, the layouts changed, and several versions just didn't work the way that we wanted. There were definitely moments where it felt easier to just give up and use stairs, but eventually everything will start coming together. However, just not yet. So you can see what I'm doing here. However, this mode is not functional. This version is not functional for the mode that we were playing. We figured that out the hard way. We had to do further research into how to make an elevator in Bedrock Edition, as this would only work in the Java edition. Now it's time to think hard. Very hard. If this doesn't work, what will we use? Will we use ladders? Will we use stairs? Or are we going to have to make a water-based elevator, which isn't as functional? As you've probably seen in plenty of videos, a waterfall elevator can be difficult. So we're trying our hardest to make this one work. However, there's so many complications. This is where we felt like giving up so many times, but we kept pushing through and pushing through until we found something that worked. Maybe we'll have to stop doing this for now. Maybe we'll have to start working on something else. I don't know. As you can see, we now have Nightwolf on the job, trying to work her hardest to help to make a functional elevator. So if this elevator works, guys, we have to drop a massive congratulations to Nightwolf in the comment section below. It's only fair. I know I've said thank you millions and millions of times. Because if it wasn't for you guys who are here to help, this would not be possible. The builds, the ideas, I may get a lot of the ideas, yes, but you guys are the reason that those ideas are able to come to life. Over the next few minutes, you're not going to hear me speaking, but you're going to be able to see everything come to life slowly. This is where we start to work on the interior and the docks and just everything that we visualized starts to slowly come to life. I will try and speed this up as much as I can for you. As you can see, we shifted our focus towards the shoreline. A lighthouse island without docks just wouldn't feel complete. The fishing docks helped bring life and purpose to the surrounding water. We created a wooden walkway extending out into the ocean along with small working areas that looked practical and believable, including the small boat that you've just seen. This section wasn't necessarily the biggest build of the island, but it added a huge amount of character. Suddenly it started to feel like people actually worked here. The island started to tell its own story. Fishermen heading out at sunrise, supplies arriving from the mainland. A small but busy community built around the lighthouse. Those little details make a massive difference in builds like this. As you're most likely already aware, next up comes a farming section. Every community needs a food source after all, and this island is no different. The goal here wasn't to create massive fields. Instead, it was to focus on building something compact, practical and visually pleasing. A farm that fits naturally into the landscape and helps the island to feel self-sufficient. Sometimes the small details are what really brings a project to life, and the farm area definitely helped to do that. Once this was finished, we moved on to a little storage facility and decorative details. This area was designed specifically for the fishermen and the farmers who would theoretically use the island. Storage spaces often get overlooked in larger builds. At the end of the day, they're not flashy and they're not exciting, but they make a huge difference when it comes to realism. We added organised storage rooms, workspace and decorative elements, and extra details throughout the island. This stage of the project involves a lot of walking around, spotting empty places, and figuring out how to make each area feel complete. As I've probably said before, it's often the final 20% of the detailing that makes a build look 100% finished. Just like every other major project, this build came with plenty of problems. There were sections that looked great in our heads, but they looked terrible once they were built. There were designs that had to be scrapped completely. There were moments where we spent ages building something only to have to tear it down once again and start over. Creative mode may provide you with unlimited blocks. However, it does not provide you with unlimited good ideas. Every successful build still requires patience, still requires experimentation, and still requires problem solving. Looking back at it now though, all the setbacks were worth it. Every single one of them. Every redesign helped to improve the final result. And every mistake just taught us something for the future projects. So it was worth it at the end of the day. And finally, here it is, Lighthouse Island in all its glory. A custom-built island featuring a towering lighthouse, attached main house, working elevator, fishing docks, farmland, storage facilities and fully decorated interiors. What started as a simple lighthouse concept evolved into a complete island settlement. Every structure serves a purpose, every detail contributes to the story, and seeing this finished project from above just really shows how far it's come from the original idea. This has been one of our favourite builds to work on so far. Thank you so much for watching Lighthouse Island. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for being a part of this amazing community. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know what you'd like to see us build next. Take care of yourselves, look after each other, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye everyone.